Ooh, last section. Did we all finish?
Yes.
Have to ask. What did you think?
No.
We're the same. Who was able to listen to like the little extended author thingy?
I did.
Okay, cool. Me too, because I listened to it. Which, before, well, I guess we could talk about it after. I was gonna say, let's talk about the book first, and then we can talk about that.
I liked the little murder mystery like twist because we like that kind of genre also. Mm-hmm. But I felt like it wasn't a great romance and it wasn't a great murder mystery. And then it was like historical, which was cool, but it's kind of like they didn't do either of those really well, I felt. So it kind of was like mediocre of both of those.
Yeah. Like they didn't stick to one. They just kind of blended or half-assed some. And
I had an issue at the end because I feel like I agree with what you guys both said, although I felt like it was entertaining, especially that third section. I felt like maybe it was better than the rest of the book, so I was kind of excited going into the fourth section. And with the ending, I didn't mind how it ended with like the alchemy and kind of magical element, but I did mind that I felt like it wasn't really alluded to in the rest of the book, so I felt like just kind of like a scramble, like, okay, well, we'll make a creative ending, but there wasn't a build for it, so that was kind of disappointing to me. And let me see what else I was gonna say. I agree that I feel like the part with the romance where Jack died, it just seemed kind of like it was grasping. Like it could have been done much better. Although there are aspects to the book I really liked, that's what ended up getting it a 3. It's just I felt like the themes were a little disjointed.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like this last part was a totally different book.
Yes.
But at the same time, it felt really predictable.
Yeah.
Even though like it was unexpected, but yet like it was like we all thought that Mr. Beecham was the bad guy, and we all thought that like people were throwing out someone was gonna die, and her choices in the last half of the book pissed me off. Also, I was just like, oh my god, girl, like why are you doing, why, stop, no. So it you know, there were some interesting twists at the end. I agree with Karina. I don't think they were built up. I think they came out kind of out of nowhere, and the tone of the book just completely changed at the end. It got like Harry Potter like, and it was weird because the rest of the book was not built like there was no magical realism or anything. Like there was no, like everything was seemed very factual, and so maybe that was seen as like creating like a more interesting thing, but I don't like that. I feel like there should have been more of a build up. There should have been some inclination that it was like, I don't know, it just like feels like disjointed, and it feels like the author didn't build up to it. And I don't want to go too much into the author's Q&A thing that was in the audiobook, but something that she mentioned was that like she made the character of Hazel like she was like a modern day woman, and that was how she basically justified a bunch of her actions and choices in the book. And okay, that's kind of interesting, especially if you're going to potentially make her immortal and like have her go across time. But I don't know, I don't know if it really, it's still, I don't know if you can really justify that though, because maybe you become that way, or maybe like you're a person out of time or whatever. But because we're talking about like it wasn't cohesive, like I don't know if I really buy that argument, because maybe you could have, I don't know, there were so many interesting things you maybe could have done if you did want to have this like alchemy and this like magical thing and these immortal things. But I feel like the book wasn't leading towards that, and then it was. And I don't think that, you know, maybe she was thinking about these things throughout, but for us, it just read like she was being really ridiculous and unrealistic and really like not of her time, and there wasn't any reason for it. So I think that was, I don't know if I'm making sense, but
maybe she ran out of ideas.
Disjointed.
By the time that she was writing towards the end, she's like, well, let's just sprinkle a little this in here.
I think
Or
that's
she
what
didn't want to
happened.
rewrite the whole first half of the book.
Well,
She was like,
Like,
I came up with this idea in the 11th hour. I'm going to throw it in there.
she was too busy eating some good donuts.
Yeah.
I would have done the same.
But wasn't there some mention of the Philosopher's Stone earlier on, and one of you ladies was like, "Ooh, Harry Potter."
I think
But
the
I don't know
last
Yeah.
when that was.
Yeah, I think we noticed that, but it's still,
It was
you know, that was like the only reference. So like there wasn't any, I don't know, like make some things happen that you can't explain or something like that. Like it felt like everything that was going on was just like, oh yeah, someone's clearly kidnapping and stealing bodies, but there was no indication that it was like because they actually had powers to do anything. And I feel like they could have, like, even in like gothic romance, like there's like sometimes like kind of mystical, like, you know, elements of, you know, and that wasn't here. It felt very like realistic until the end.
Well, we said last time when they mentioned the Philosopher's Stone, like she just watched Chamber of Secrets that day.
Yeah.
And then that became her theme.
This
Or
last
her-
part gave me Tuck Everlasting and
Oh.
and I was like, oh, what? Like it took a total like a turn, and I'm like, what? Because I think we mentioned, I think Karina or someone looked into that there was going to be another book about immortality, right? And I think that's how we started, like, oh, who's going to be the one that's going to live forever? Who's going to, you know, or like something like that. If we hadn't looked into it, I mean, this is just like a, oh, what? Why did even you know what I mean? Like, they never gave us little clues about Beecham doing this or any of that. Like, I don't know.
It reminded me of Mexican Gothic a little bit. Dr. Beecham and the old evil guy from Mexican Gothic, how he was like trying to live forever.
Yeah, yeah.
But that one was well written.
Exactly.
I like that one.
But that one you could tell, like, he was nasty and like, dude, he sounds like he's dying, but yeah, he's here still living, and
Yeah.
you can at least speculate something's going on with his life. Like, why is he still here yet? He's so old. Beecham, like with the finger stuff, how would
That was hella weird. Ugh.
How would
It
we?
reminded me of Edward Scissorhands or something. I don't know.
I don't. And I mean, maybe that's the part where she wanted to surprise us and be like, "Ha! You didn't see that one? Obviously, we didn't get anything. We didn't get little."
I found that part to be like a little bit not credible too, just because I feel like for surgeons aren't your hands like a big deal, you know? Like you don't want to be chopping off fingers willy-nilly because you need them to perform your life's
Well, I
work.
think he was implying like his fingers were dying because like he was so old.
That makes sense. Thank you. I took it as he was chopping off his fingers to experiment on himself and sew like other people's fingers onto them. So I'm like, well, what if it didn't work? What would you do?
That's what I thought too. I thought that was because he said he'd experimented on his. That was like the first thing he experimented when to learn how to do that to other people.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, but then like maybe it just looked gross because it had been so long. Maybe it was both. He did it, but now it's dying off.
I feel like his body.
But like, how could you do that on your own fingers?
Exactly.
Yeah, wouldn't they all go at the same time? If you like, like it's dying, you know, like if it starts from here and it's all of them, instead of, I don't know, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And
it really seems like she was trying to like do all of these different things, but the way we were reading it was like, this is a very simplistic book. Like there's not a lot going on. It's very straightforward. It's like written for like a sixth grader kind of thing. And I almost wonder if the author had like not written a YA and maybe had written like, I don't know, like a few grade levels up or something, then maybe her ideas she could have fleshed them out more and not made it so simplistic if she had all these ideas. Yeah. I don't know, maybe her publisher was like, no, you need to write something for this age group, so like don't include all these things, because again I don't want to go too into the Q&A, but she had so many like ideas that she was talking about that she was doing, all these things, all these points, and it's like You're reading a book and it seems very surface level.
That makes sense.
And also, like, especially the ending, I think we talked about it last time, especially if you're building a fantasy world or an alternative reality, you need to have rules set into place. You can't just do whatever you want. Like Harry Potter, there's rules, like especially between the Muggle and the Wizarding world. And if you don't have the rules, it makes the world even more unbelievable. Like of course, Harry Potter can't be real, but like because of the world she built, it makes sense how things run. But it just doesn't make sense because there's no rules.
I also was disappointed that she didn't rescue Jack and just let him be hanging there with the potion, because I know she knows that it worked for Dr. Beecham, but I feel like that was also a big gamble. And if she really did love him, like she would have like figured out a way to squirrel him away to America or something.
So I was a bit confused about that part. I think I was cooking and I kept replaying and then I gave up. She had the potion, right? She was gonna give it to him. And he had it. But the thing is like, no, I can't be in a world without you, right? Or something like that. And then who ends up with it?
What Jack did, he took it, I think, because she receives the mysterious letter of like, oh, I'm in New York or
Okay,
something.
that's what I thought. That's what I thought. And then someone right now mentioned something. And I'm like, wait, they're saying that she took it, but he took it, right? Not her. Okay, that's what I thought.
But like, we don't know that letter's from him. I think she assumes it is, but
That's true.
it could be Bernard or even Beecham.
Ew.
That'd be more like Mexican Gothic.
If it was Beecham, though, I don't think she'd put it above her workstation. She
Yeah.
would be like, throw that in the fire.
Well, I think she thinks it's Jack,
Yeah.
but it wasn't signed, right? It was just
That's
said your
true.
love or something.
I assumed it was Jack because of the whole "my beating heart is still yours" and I'll be waiting for you. I maybe I heard wrong and I thought Jack had mentioned that, but you bring up a good point because I didn't even consider it being someone else. Ugh, no, I don't like it. I'm not gonna read it. Or
That's
listen.
what's gonna happen in the next book. They're gonna flesh out the romance part of it.
I also think if the author's whole point was like, she is a modern girl, like, but in this time period, and she's supposed to be this super feminist, and she's supposed to be like this, and have her take the potion and have her travel through time or something like that.
Yeah,
like, why
have her go
have
to New
Jack
York.
take the potion? Because the whole point was he didn't want to, because he didn't want to like see her grow old while he lives forever, and he's not the main character, she is. So why is he taking the potion and not her?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I completely agree with you. Especially, I feel like if she really wanted to be more modern, like she would have like rescued the boy, or the man, and just figured out a way to again get him to safety, and then maybe taken more charge. I feel like some things happened that either because the author had to make the book more simple for young adult readers, but I feel like the main character kind of like let a lot of things happen, and that kind of goes against what you're saying the author said in the Q&A. So it's just interesting because she has like the money and resources to do stuff.
Yeah, if you're ever to listen to the Q&A, I think it's interesting. But I went in thinking it was gonna be a Q&A with the author, but it felt like they were interviewing the narrator, did it not? At least for me, I was like, okay, cool, you're asking her about it, and maybe I got like 2 questions like of insight from the author, and I'm like, this was the waste. I could have gone 30 minutes without listening to this. I don't know. I honestly went on
conversation.
Yeah, honestly, no. I went on Goodreads and I was looking at people's reviews, and I thought that was more satisfying than like the 30 minutes of the author. I don't know. Yeah.
What did people say on Goodreads?
So there was a lot of like not necessarily mixed reviews, but some people were like, no, it wasn't. There was a mix. So there was a lot like us, where we're like, there's this going on, there's this going on, and then there's other people like, this isn't even a romance, this is historical fiction. Why would you even call it a love story? There's no love story. And then the author in the Q&A was like, it's because the love story between Hazel and Anatomy. And I'm like, that wasn't even like emphasized first. And then another person was like, well, there's a difference between romance and love story. And I'm like, if you bring love or romance, I'm expecting love or romance. I don't care if there's a difference. And
Fair point.
they even said there was like, I didn't pay attention. There was only like 2 times that Jack and Hazel like met up. And it wasn't in the beginning. It was like more towards the end. And they're like, how is that a love story? And that's, they were speculating like, it was the Anatomy. It wasn't Jack.
If it was Anatomy, that's awkward because it's just making me remember that beginning scene where she's playing with the frog. And I'm like, that's kind of like just more a little twisted than like an actual passion or love for a subject or craft.
Yeah, like she's passionate for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know about.
Or like have her choose Anatomy over Jack. Have her like not save him, take the potion, and like decide that she's going to be a doctor and she's going to be like Beecham and like not have love. And in the next book, she can feel like, oh my God, what have I done?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she didn't have any character development this entire book. Like she got everything right. She's super smart. She lost her. Did she even like learn that maybe she shouldn't tell people things? Like that she didn't even seemingly like reflect and learn about anything she went through in the book either. I just don't feel like she was kind of a Mary Sue. Like she didn't have any growth really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave mine a 3. I almost did a 2, but I'm like, it wasn't like horrible. So I'll give it a 3.
A 3 for me. There were parts where I was entertained and getting into it, and I think that third section was probably the best for me, but disappointed with the ending.
The ending was just.
I think it had potential, but no.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking about it for like young adults. Like she is a strong female character and maybe like would inspire women to go into medicine or something, or STEM, any STEM. I don't know. I wonder what our
better
teenage
there wasn't
selves.
any romance.
Yeah.
Because like what you said, Julie, she's a strong female character. She doesn't need Jack. It wasn't necessary. I probably would have liked it because I wouldn't have been sold the love story part, like you said, Judith.
Yeah, she doesn't need Jack or Beecham or her family's money.
I think she definitely needs her family's money because how else is she gonna have a castle to have her own hospital?
Yeah.
Which still, like at the end, she's just like in her pot. Like, where's her mom? Is her mom gonna come home and find her? Like, no.
Yeah, we don't ever find out about that. The mom just was there, but
isn't her mom pissed because she refused her cousin? Like, isn't she gonna come home and be pissed at her? No.
A lot of loose ends with the characters. I would have liked to know more about like, that last interaction with the fiance and, maybe her telling him off or something, and then Dr. Beecham as well, like what ended up happening to him. And the servants and everything. I feel like there was more development romantically with those 2 servant people that she had, like sending them on dates, and then they got married and they're going to their cottage. Then the actual relationship with her and Jack.
Maybe she just ran out of time. All that information will be on the second book.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that's the thing where I'm like, 60% of the book you gave us in the little intro flap. Like, Davy, and then it wasn't even Davy, it was Monroe. We don't even know what happened to Davy.
He was never brought up again.
It was just that one moment. I don't know. I think they also mentioned like the whole like murder mystery kind of thing with the bodies disappearing, or not the body. Well, yeah, the bodies, but also like the grave diggers. Like a lot of the people on the reviews were saying like it didn't. I don't know what she was missing for us to be like, oh, I care about the bodies, because it seemed like they were like, oh, okay, whatever, like they're missing, who cares? Like I don't think we were super like, oh, who did this? What happened? Are they dead? It's Beecham, you know, like there wasn't enough for us to start speculating and be like, what happened? Or have some sort of interest.
What do you think of Bernard testifying against Jack? Like, do you think he's trying to get him killed so he wouldn't interfere with his relationship, or did his dad make him?
I think
Maybe
he did
both,
it.
but mostly him. I think he was very jealous and threatened, especially because of how he reacted when he didn't even know that there was a potential rival, and how he reacted when he felt Hazel wasn't giving him the proper attention that he was due or that he wanted. So I think that when he heard and saw of Jack, it made him that much more jealous and just like eager to quickly like remove the rival. But definitely shady, because it was like a comment on just like socioeconomics and how even like now sometimes like people with more wealth or resources, like they can get away with things with more connections, you know, than people who do not have those resources.
I hope Hazel learns to tell white lies more. Because I don't know. She doesn't have a lot of tact, but that's just who she is.
Mm-hmm. And Strain went down for what Beecham was doing too, right? Because it said he was on trial as well, but he just got his medical license revoked. He wasn't hanged, but it didn't talk about Beecham, which I find interesting.
I'm still going to at the review. Someone's like, what the fuck did I just read? I had given it a higher rating, but I started wondering what did I like about this book and came up with no answer. And I was like, oh shoot.
Didn't the author rate it like 4 stars by herself, but she was like, I'm the author, so I have to or something?
Oh, really?
I think I saw that, yeah.
The author herself?
Let me see if I can find it.
I like
That's kind of
Hazel as a
annoying.
character.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the historical fiction, and kind of like it sounds like this was like Hawthorne Den was a real place.
Oh, that's what I saw that. It says I'm a little biased. Oh, the
It's like voting for yourself.
that's
Good.
I do admit that since I was watching Bridgerton at the same time as we were reading this book, I kind of like seeing the dresses in the show. I kind of like imagining how it would be in this book in the same part with like the pressure to marry and all that jazz. Like I found it interesting to have those 2 experiences together.
I wonder if I would have liked it if I was watching it at the same time. Because I watched it before and I was like, oh my goodness. Or like I was finishing it when we were starting this. So I was like, this is nice. I get to continue this little like scene
Historical stuff.
in this era. No. I was trying to think of a favorite character, but I don't know.
Yeah, there wasn't like a ton of character development, you know. Maybe her and Jack and like Dr. Beecham and Dr. Strain, but they're not gonna be your favorite.
No, there's the creepies.
I don't know. I kind of like Dr. Beecham. He was interesting. I want to know more about his terrible things that he's done.
All the things he's done, I think I would read that. The tiny little bio.
If you want to read terrible things, read the book that Paula has been telling us about, The Empire of Pain.
I saw that you're
Yeah.
Karina.
I'm almost halfway done.
I know, I saw that.
Talk about getting away with legal things when you have money.
Yep.
Yeah, that's basically the book.
The part about overprescribing reminded me of A Flicker in the Dark. I think that one would have been a really good book club book, except it is pretty long. It's taken me like a few weeks now, and I'm barely halfway.
Yeah, it's really long. It would have had to have been like a 2-month thing or something like that. I'm still not done. Julie's finished, and Karina's gonna finish before me.
I catch you up, Paula.
I got it from the library.
My Kindle version expired, but I figured out that if you don't hit home or like hit anything else and just leave it on the book, it still stays there. So even though my Kindle version has expired, I'm still reading it on there, but I reserved a hard copy just in case at the Gilroy Library. It's popular. I'm like 30th on the list now for the other ebooks of that copy.
Oh, wow.
At least 30th.
I think I found out about it from like an Amazon like best nonfiction thing.
That's
That's
very
how
good.
I learned about it.
Yeah, I saw someone else read it too. It's pretty popular. I haven't seen anyone read this anatomy one. Oh, I finally looked at the cover up close. It's really cool.
I don't know what happened to mine.
Like, I thought it was a drawing.
It was a heart.
Yeah, I thought it was a drawing of a heart, but it's like a girl in a dress.
It's really pretty.
That's striking.
Which to me is upsetting because there's another person saying like obviously the cover is trying to draw you in, and I was like, I wish it would have matched my interests, the cover and the actual book, because now I feel like I really need to not judge a book by its cover, because the pretty ones always deceive me and they're not good for me. Like I don't like them, and I'm just like, stay away from pretty and read what it says.
There another one that you read in the book club or not that did that was like a really good cover that you didn't like the book?
The Firekeeper's Daughter. It's so
I liked that one.
I didn't like that one. Let's see. Mexican Gothic, such a pretty one. It wasn't one of my favorites. It was a good story, but it wasn't like, it was better than this for sure. But it was like, I love the dress. I love it. But the story itself, if it wasn't for book club, I wouldn't have read it.
Yeah, the prettiest book I think so far with the best story probably has been The Vanishing Half, I think.
The Vanishing Half is the one that, perfect. That one was really, really good. Looking over. Yeah, I think that would have to be that.
Let me look at my audio book covers.
I have like a little section in my bookshelf that it's just like all the books we're reading. So I'm just looking over like, yeah, those two. The Firekeepers was so cool.
Or I think that one was one of the prettiest, but also the best storyline.
Yeah, that was just so long.
I was very intrigued to read the votes for this time for next month because I did not hear the pitches.
Oh. Did you watch the video or did you just read them?
I didn't get a chance to, and I still need to upload the one from last time, but I'll go back and watch it when I'm done with all my homework. Maybe it could be my reward. I wanted to ask who pitched I got to Kindle one of it. Who pitched The Choice by Nicholas Sparks? Me. You did? I read that one already. But I didn't want to say, I'm just going to vote.
Judith, that's why I went, because I also pitched a Nicholas Sparks book, but I looked at your Goodreads before I pitched it.
You looked at mine?
Yeah, she was. We're trying to decide which ones to
that's hilarious.
go from our bookshelf. And she's like, I'm looking at Karina's because I can't have one that she already read and then it's not even an option. And I was like, you're right. But
I read it a long time ago. I wouldn't mind it, but I also have some Nicholas Sparks on my shelf if we want to go that route for the next round too.
I have so many.
The choice is really sad. Yeah. It's sad.
I would have loved it.
I heard people cry. And I was like, ooh.
We would have been like, yeah.
Is that
Which was the one you picked, Judith, and which was the one that Crystal pitched?
Mine
You
was
pitched the
I-
choice and Crystal pitched the firefighter one? Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
the rescue.
So this was the runner-up. This was the one with like the most
It had a single mother. I wanted one with a mother.
well, maybe next time.
Well, this one still has a mother, right?
Yeah, there's a mother and it's mostly about the dad, I think so.
Yeah.
It's okay. We'll take that.
Read it, James. Thanks, Judith. I'm gonna write it in my book.
It arrived today and I was like, oh my God, someone has to have the book because I don't know the pages. And I kept waiting by my door. And finally Amazon showed up. Did the
Who pitched that one?
Paola did.
Nice.
Yeah. I think it was the second time you pitched it or
I remember seeing it before.
Yeah, it was the second time I pitched it last month.
you gotta keep pitching.
That's been working
Katie,
for
don't
us
lose hope.
lately.
Yeah.
Not
no,
going
Yeah.
to.
Keep
Because
pitching.
sometimes
Katie,
we're
you're
not
gonna-
in the mood. Sometimes we're not in the mood for that genre, and then we're like, okay, now I'm in the mood.
What about now? What about now? Yeah, you just gotta keep putting it. Or like I said previously, with Katie's book, that I was like, what even is this? And then the more we talk about it, I'm like, I wanna read it. And
That's the Mormon one.
you know?
Might take a few
reading
years,
it. I'm
but we're gonna
reading
get there.
Mormon one.
We're
I
gonna
want
get
to
got
read
it.
that. Yeah, I'm reading it. I want to read it. I just don't know if it's good for book club. I don't know.
because of the religion.
Yeah, and just like whatever. It's like a little dry, you know.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know how nonfiction is in book club. Is it similar or?
I like nonfiction a lot.
We haven't done one.
Challenge next month. Everyone bring nonfiction.
Well, that's what I was gonna say about for Halloween or October. We all had to pitch a Stephen King book, right?
Mhm.
Or was it just
I think
spooky?
Karina picked a myriad of Stephen King books. and
Yeah,
then we voted.
I gave her the
Because
option.
we could do that for Nicholas Sparks too. Because doesn't he have a bunch?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Good idea.
I'll be down to do nonfiction. Should we do it next one?
I think just
I
with
like
the nonfiction, it makes it harder, but we have to maybe pick one that's like has a certain page length.
Oh
Because
yeah.
that's the only issue with like the one that I pitched that one time that everyone's read. It's so long. Like I don't think we could do it in a month. So maybe we need to pick a book that, unless we want to do a 2-month thing.
Yeah.
Well, we can discuss it as the weeks go by. But I like nonfiction. I would be down for that. I voted Katie's book second. So
I think that might have been the
love
third. It was the Unsinkable one, Crystals, and I think it was the Under the Banner, the third one. Because I thought it was mine, because I have like a little Excel sheet, and then it appeared, but the last two people who voted kind of bumped up Katie's book up a little. So.
I just saw the preview to the series and it looks so good.
And yeah.
Because you guys have like the last 2 weeks I've been mentioning it. I was like, what? So confused.
So yeah.
Finally saw it.
So these sections will be a bit shorter. There's 306 pages on this book I have. And that means we'll read around 76 or so pages. So that's a bit short. And then the actual font isn't even that big either. I mean, that small. Do we have chapters? Yes, we do. So we go chapter 1 to chapter 9. Don't read chapter 10. And the cool thing is we have these things besides the chapter. So we stop at Monday. Don't go after Monday. After
Sorry,
Mon-
you said don't read 10, right? Don't
yeah,
read
don't
10.
read 10. So if the Audible says Monday, just stop there because then it's chapter 10. We'll see. That's kind of cool. By days. Yeah.
Sweet. What genre is this one?
I don't know. Good question.
I think it's like there's like some family stuff, and then there's a romance also.
Oh.
Yeah, they're on a
So, like-
cruise, right? So maybe that's why it's
Yeah.
like 1 week.
Yeah,
Okay.
on an Alaskan cruise.
I'll fill in the genre as we read them. Format ebook.
Oh,
Did you read a spoiler?
it was released on my birthday. If I don't like it, it was. I didn't know it was released this year. It was published this year. Oh shoot! It's like brand new.
She knew.
She like new, like a month in new. Oh my goodness. Well, we'll see. Okay, that is.
I think when we did Firekeeper, that was also like brand new.
Yeah, I
Or
think it
was
was.
I wrong?
It was.
Yeah.
It was fairly new.
I don't know why I like reading newer books because then everybody's talking about them at the same
Yeah.
time.
The book community.
Mm-hmm.
That's also true. Okay, well, we'll have that next Tuesday, which is the 3rd.
Alrighty.
Wait, this May is 5 weeks.
So we're gonna read 2 books.
Yeah, it's because it has 31 days. So the Tuesday is the 31st. So I mean, we could technically, I guess it's the June, but we
There's
can
a 3-day weekend.
That's also
Oh, maybe we can take that week off.
yes, we can. It's that last week. Good idea.
Let me write that if I forget.
Memorial Day, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, it's on a Monday. I mean, it's still Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. It's not Sunday.
Because I won't be here the 17th.
17th.
Where are you going? Or what are you doing?
I'm going to Mexico for a week.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
that's right.
Nice.
You can still join. Just kidding.
Girl, no. Con el
I
servicio
know.
allá, no.
Oh my God.
I'm going to be like,
I'm going in June just for a week, but I can maybe join. We'll see.
Is that Julie?
You're in
Yeah.
Mexico?
Hey, Rika.
We're all Julie.
Oh, here it's recorded.
Okay. So yeah, we can do that. We can take the last week of May off.
Okay.
What we could do is we just vote that week. Or
so we'll finish, our last meeting would be the 24th.
Yeah.
Sounds Gucci.
Sounds good.
We can decide if we want to go with the theme next month. Nonfiction, Nicholas Sparks, or
Biography. We haven't done a biography.
I don't like biographies. That's why. I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say
Damn,
versus-
Judith.
No, I'm kidding. You guys can go. Ahead. You can go ahead and nominate it. Maybe you'll catch my interest.
The Michelle Obama one was really good.
That was
And
really good.
the
Yeah.
one about Diane Guerrero was really good too.
Have you all ever met?
biography.
Have you read Matthew McConaughey's Green
I
Light?
have not.
That one's really
Oh,
good.
no, I heard that was good, though.
That one's really good.
I'll
I
write it
listened to
down.
Jessica Simpson's biography. It was actually really good.
Oh, yeah.
It
I
was
started that.
interesting. But the only problem is she reads the audiobook and you know her voice. Like it's kind of annoying. So but I was like, oh, this is actually very fascinating. Fascinating look at early 2000s pop culture and how terrible it was.
I actually have
If
it.
you like Matthew McConaughey's listen to the audiobook because he reads it.
Oh, that's my mom's
That will
celebrity
just
crush.
like make me feel so relaxed.
Oh my
I'll just be
goodness.
like,
All right, all right, all right.
Yeah.
Listen to that right now. Let's go. That's so cool. I didn't know. I didn't know that he did it.
Hmm.
That's awesome. I'll put it on my list.
He reads
Oh,
it really well. He's a really good storyteller.
I was wondering, Paola, because you're like your husband's in the industry, do you know